A baby screamed for 3 solid hours on a flight from New York to San Francisco. The billionaire father tried everything. Nothing worked. Then a 16-year-old boy from the cheap seats walked up and did the impossible. The baby went silent. Every passenger froze. But what nobody knew was that this wasn't just about a crying baby. This was about a mathematical genius carrying the weight of his entire community, and a billionaire who was about to learn that the most valuable people aren't always in first class. Stay until the end. This story will change the way you see the world. Let me tell you about the day everything changed for 2 people who had no idea their lives were about to collide. Picture this. Robert Sullivan, one of the richest men in America, sitting in seat 2A of a plane headed from New York to San Francisco. This man could buy anything he wanted, solve any problem with money. But right now, money meant nothing, because in his arms was a 6-month-old daughter, Lily, and she had been screaming for 3 solid hours. I mean screaming. The kind of crying that makes everyone on the plane want to disappear. The kind that echoes through your skull and won't let go. Robert had tried everything. He walked up and down the aisles, bouncing Lily gently. He offered her bottles that she pushed away with her tiny hands. He changed her diaper in that cramped airplane bathroom, sweating and struggling. He even played classical music on his expensive headphones, pressing them against her little ears. Nothing worked. Nothing. The other passengers in first class were getting angrier by the minute. An older businessman kept checking his watch loudly and sighing. A wealthy woman was typing furiously on her phone, probably complaining to all her friends. The flight attendants tried to help, but their professional smiles couldn't hide their concern. Sometimes babies just need to cry it out, one attendant said, trying to sound helpful. But Robert knew better. This wasn't normal crying. This was his daughter in real distress, and he had no idea how to help her. See, Robert wasn't supposed to be doing this alone. His wife, Jennifer, was recovering from emergency surgery back home in New York. He had wanted to cancel this trip to San Francisco. It was important, sure, meetings that could determine the future of his tech company, but not more important than his wife's health. You have to go, Jennifer had told him from her hospital bed. This deal is too important. Take Lily with you. How hard can it be? Famous last words, right? Robert had hired the most expensive nanny service in New York City. But the nanny got food poisoned the night before the flight. No time to find a replacement. So here he was, a billionaire CEO who could manage 1,000-person companies and billion-dollar deals, completely helpless in front of his own crying baby. The worst part wasn't the angry stares or the whispered complaints. The worst part was seeing Lily in pain and not knowing how to fix it. Every scream felt like it was calling out to him, "Dad, help me," and he had no answer. As the hours dragged on, Robert started panicking about more than just a flight. He had 5 days of crucial meetings in San Francisco. How could he bring a screaming baby into boardrooms full of investors? His whole business expansion could fall apart. What Robert didn't know was that 3 rows behind him, in the regular economy section, a 16-year-old kid named Tyler Brooks had been listening to every cry. And Tyler knew exactly what was wrong. Tyler was sitting in a cramped middle seat, his worn backpack stuffed under the seat in front of him. He was wearing his cleanest pair of jeans and a button-up shirt his grandmother had ironed for him that morning. This trip was everything to him. He was flying to San Francisco alone to compete in the National Mathematics Championship, and winning could earn him a full scholarship to Stanford University. Tyler came from the south side of Atlanta, where he lived with his mom, his grandmother, and his 3 younger siblings in a small apartment. His mother, Patricia, worked double shifts as a nursing assistant to keep the family afloat. His grandmother, Ruth, took care of the kids while Patricia worked. 2 years ago, Tyler's youngest brother, Jaden, had been born with terrible colic. He cried for hours every single day and night. The family couldn't afford specialists or expensive treatments. So Tyler did what he always did when faced with a problem. He researched it. He spent months in the library, reading everything he could about infant colic. He watched videos online about baby massage techniques. He experimented with different ways to hold Jaden, different pressures, different positions. Through trial and error, patience, and love, Tyler figured out a combination of techniques that could stop Jaden's crying within minutes. That boy's got magic in his hands. His grandmother would say proudly, "He can calm any baby." Now, listening to Lily's desperate screams echoing to the plane, Tyler recognized that same type of crying. He could hear it in the pitch and rhythm. This baby had trapped gas and was completely overstimulated. Tyler knew he could help, but he also knew what it would look like. A black teenager from the inner city, wearing his best clothes that still looked worn, approaching a wealthy white businessman in first class. He had experienced enough prejudice in his 16 years to know that many people would see him as a threat, not a helper. For 2 hours, Tyler wrestled with himself. He pulled out his math textbooks and tried to focus on preparing for the competition that could change his entire future. But Lily's cries got more and more desperate, and Tyler couldn't concentrate on anything else. Finally, his compassion won over his fear. Tyler closed his textbook, stood up, and started walking toward first class. His heart was pounding. The other passengers in economy stared at him, wondering where this kid thought he was going. The flight attendant at the divider between economy and first class looked at him with polite suspicion. "Can I help you?" she asked, clearly ready to send him back to his seat. Tyler took a deep breath. "The baby in first class," he said quietly. "I think I might be able to help." The flight attendant looked Tyler up and down, skeptical. "Are you traveling with family in first class?" "No, ma'am," Tyler said respectfully, "but I have experience with colicky babies. I recognize that type of crying. There are techniques that might help." The attendant glanced toward first class, where Lily's screams were reaching new levels of intensity. She looked back at Tyler's earnest face and saw something there. Genuine concern, real confidence. "Let me ask the father," she said. But before she could move, Robert appeared in the aisle, holding the screaming Lily, looking absolutely destroyed. His expensive suit was wrinkled. His hair was a mess, and his eyes had the desperate look of someone who had run out of options. "I heard someone say they could help," Robert said, his voice cracking slightly. Tyler felt every eye in first class turn toward him. He saw the judgment, the suspicion, the curiosity. But he also saw a father who loved his daughter and didn't care where help came from. "Sir, my name is Tyler Brooks," he said, speaking clearly despite his nervousness. "I know I'm just a kid, but I have a baby brother who had really bad colic. I learned some techniques that helped him. I think your daughter might be experiencing the same thing." Robert looked at Tyler, really looked at him. He saw intelligence in the young man's eyes. He saw confidence that didn't come from arrogance but from real knowledge. And most importantly, he saw a genuine concern for Lily's well-being. "What kind of techniques?" Robert asked, raising his voice over Lily's crying. Gentle pressure on specific points along her spine, combined with a particular way of holding her that relieves gas pressure, Tyler explained professionally. Also, babies sometimes get overstimulated by too much movement. They need calm, steady contact instead. Robert looked around the cabin. Every passenger was watching this moment, wondering what would happen next. Some looked doubtful. Others looked hopeful that anyone, might bring peace to this flight. Robert made a decision that would change everything. "Please," he said, extending Lily toward Tyler. "If you think you can help her, I'm willing to try anything." What happened next seemed like a miracle. The moment Tyler's hands touched Lily, her crying began to fade. Tyler held her in a specific position, supported her head and neck with one hand, while applying gentle, rhythmic pressure along her spine with the other. "Babies with colic often have trapped gas," Tyler explained softly as he worked. "This position helps release the pressure, while the massage stimulates their digestive system." Lily's screaming reduced to whimpering, then to soft hiccups, then to complete silence. The entire first-class cabin seemed to hold its breath. 200 passengers watched in amazement as Tyler began humming a soft melody, something gentle and soothing. Lily's eyes, which had been squeezed shut in distress, slowly opened. She looked up at Tyler's face, and for the first time in hours, she looked peaceful. "Where did you learn that song?" Robert whispered, mesmerized. "My grandmother taught me," Tyler replied, continuing the gentle massage. She said it was a lullaby her mother sang to her. Sometimes the old songs carry something special. Robert watched as Lily completely relaxed in Tyler's arms. Her tiny fists, clenched tight for so long, slowly uncurled. Her breathing became deep and regular. She looked comfortable, happy even. The businessman who had been complaining loudly was now staring at Tyler with obvious respect. "Remarkable," he said to his wife. "Absolutely remarkable." The wealthy woman put down her phone, watching Tyler with surprise and admiration. "I've never seen anything like that," she whispered. The flight attendants gathered nearby, amazed by the sudden transformation. How long will she stay calm? Robert asked. "If I'm right about what's bothering her, she should sleep peacefully for the rest of the flight." Tyler said confidently. "The pressure is relieved, and she's not overstimulated anymore." Sure enough, Lily's eyes began to flutter closed. Tyler gently transferred the sleeping baby back to Robert's arms, maintaining that same supportive position. "Tyler," Robert said, looking at this remarkable teenager with new eyes, "you said you're going to San Francisco for a mathematics competition?" "Yes, sir. The National Mathematics Championship. It's for high school students across the country. The winner gets a full scholarship to universities like Stanford or MIT. Robert was impressed. "That's incredibly competitive. You must be exceptionally gifted." Tyler shrugged modestly. "I love solving problems. Whether it's a math equation or a crying baby, they're both puzzles that need the right approach." "Tell me about yourself," Robert said, settling into a seat with Lily sleeping peacefully. He gestured for Tyler to sit in the empty first-class seat beside him. Tyler's eyes lit up as he shared his story. "I've always been good with numbers, but my school in South Atlanta doesn't have a strong math program. Most of my learning has been on my own, using library books and free online courses." "How did you qualify for this championship?" Robert asked. "I won the Atlanta regional competition, then the Georgia State Championship, then the national qualifying round." Tyler explained. "Each level got harder, but I've always been able to see patterns that others miss." Robert was beginning to understand that he wasn't just talking to any teenager. This was someone special. "How is your trip being funded?" Tyler's expression became more serious, more emotional. "My community raised money. The barber shop on my block took donations. Our church took up a special collection. Neighbors who could barely pay their own bills gave what they could. They all believe in me, sir. They're all counting on me to make them proud." Robert felt something shift inside him. This young man wasn't just naturally talented. He was carrying the hopes of an entire community on his shoulders. "What happens if you win?" Robert asked. "Full scholarship to Stanford, with money for living expenses," Tyler said, his voice filled with quiet determination. "It would mean I could study mathematics and computer science at the highest level, and then I could come back to my community and create programs for other kids like me. Kids who are smart but don't have the resources or opportunities." Robert realized he was witnessing something extraordinary, not just mathematical genius, but character and vision that could genuinely change the world. As Lily continued sleeping peacefully, Robert found himself making a decision that surprised even him. "Tyler, I have a proposition for you," Robert said. Tyler looked curious but cautious. In his experience, when wealthy people made propositions, there were usually strings attached. "What kind of proposition, sir?" "I'm in San Francisco for 5 days of crucial business meetings," Robert explained. "And as you can see, I'm completely unprepared to care for Lily while conducting international negotiations." Robert paused, watching Tyler's reaction carefully. "I'd like to hire you as Lily's caregiver during my trip. I'll pay you $500 per day, provide you with a hotel room next to mine, and make sure you have transportation to and from your math competition." Tyler felt like the air had been knocked out of his lungs. $500 per day? "Sir, that's more money than my mom makes in a week." "It's what a professional nanny would cost in San Francisco," Robert replied. "And frankly, you've already proven you're more skilled with Lily than any professional I could hire." Tyler's mind was racing. The money would be life-changing for his family. But he was also worried about maintaining his focus on the competition that represented his entire future. "Mr. Sullivan, I'm honored, truly." But I need to be completely prepared for this championship. My whole future depends on how I perform. My community's investment in me depends on it. Robert smiled, recognizing the maturity and priorities Tyler was demonstrating. I understand completely. The competition comes first. Always. I would only need your help during my business meetings and in the evenings. You'd have complete freedom to study and prepare the rest of the time. Robert leaned forward, his expression becoming more serious. Tyler, in the past 3 hours, you've shown me something I don't see often in my business career. You solve a problem that no one else could solve. You stayed calm under pressure, and you acted with genuine compassion rather than self-interest. What do you mean? Tyler asked. You could have stayed in your seat and ignored a crying baby that wasn't your responsibility, Robert said. Instead, you risked rejection and embarrassment to help a stranger. That kind of character is rarer than mathematical genius. Tyler, much rarer. Tyler felt overwhelmed. Can I have some time to think about it? Of course, Robert said. But I should mention one more thing. What's that? My company has a foundation that provides scholarships and mentorship to exceptionally gifted students from underserved communities, Robert explained. Regardless of how you perform in a math competition, I'd like to discuss how we might support your educational goals long term. Tyler felt his heart racing. This chance encounter on an airplane was opening doors he had never even imagined existed. But he also felt uncertain. Was this genuine help, or was there something more complicated beneath the surface? How would accepting help from a billionaire affect his sense of independence and pride? As the plane began its descent toward San Francisco, Tyler realized that the math competition might not be the most important test he would face during this trip. The real test would be navigating this new world of wealth and opportunity while staying true to the values and community that had shaped him. But as he looked at baby Lily sleeping peacefully in her father's arms, he knew that this moment had already changed his life in ways he was only beginning to understand. Mr. Sullivan, Tyler said quietly as passengers began gathering their belongings. I accept your offer. I'll help care for Lily during your meetings. Robert felt relief wash over him. Excellent. I have a car waiting to take us to the hotel. We can discuss everything during the drive. When they landed and walked to the San Francisco airport together, a billionaire, a sleeping baby, and a teenager from Atlanta, Tyler couldn't help noticing the curious stares. He was used to being invisible in most settings, but walking alongside Robert Sullivan made him suddenly visible in ways that felt both exciting and uncomfortable. The car waiting outside was like nothing Tyler had ever seen. A sleek black luxury sedan with a uniformed driver and an interior that looked more like a mobile office than a vehicle. As they drove through San Francisco's busy streets, Tyler explained the competition format to Robert. The championship starts tomorrow with the opening ceremony. The actual competition happens over 3 days, with different rounds testing various mathematical skills. What are your strongest areas? Robert asked, genuinely interested. Number theory and problem solving under pressure, Tyler replied. Those are crucial for this type of competition. When they arrived at the Fairmont Hotel in downtown San Francisco, Tyler felt like he had entered a different universe. The lobby was more elegant than any building he'd ever been in. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, furniture that probably cost more than his family's annual rent. Mr. Sullivan, welcome back, the hotel manager said warmly. Your suite is ready, and we prepared the adjoining room as requested. Tyler tried to process what was happening. Less than 12 hours ago, he'd been sitting in economy class, worried about affording meals during his San Francisco stay. Now he was staying in a luxury hotel as the guest of one of America's wealthiest businessmen. Robert's suite was larger than Tyler's entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered views of the San Francisco Bay. There was a full kitchen, a dining area, multiple bedrooms. Your room is through that door, Robert said, gesturing to an adjoining suite. Complete privacy, your own bathroom, 24-hour room service. Tyler opened the door and felt overwhelmed. The bed was enormous. The bathroom had a marble tub and fixtures that looked like they belonged in a palace. The window offered a stunning view of the Golden Gate Bridge. Mr. Sullivan, this is incredible, Tyler said. But I have to ask, Why are you being so generous? You barely know me. Robert was preparing a bottle for Lily, who was starting to wake from her nap. Tyler, I've learned to recognize exceptional people quickly. What you did on that plane demonstrated problem-solving skills, emotional intelligence, and courage. Those qualities matter. Robert paused, testing the bottle's temperature. But more than that, you remind me of myself at your age. I didn't grow up wealthy either. Tyler felt surprised. You didn't? My father drove a taxi in Boston. My mother worked as a seamstress, Robert said. I earned a scholarship to study business at Boston University. I built my company from nothing. Tyler, from nothing. This information completely changed Tyler's perception. He'd assumed all billionaires were born into privilege. The difference, Robert continued, is that I had mentors who believed in my potential and opened doors I couldn't have opened myself. I want to be that kind of mentor for you. That night, lying in the luxury hotel bed, Tyler couldn't sleep. Tomorrow would determine his entire future. But he also couldn't stop thinking about the incredible turn his life had taken. The next morning, Tyler woke up feeling both excited and terrified. Robert had arranged for breakfast in both their rooms, along with a schedule showing when he'd need Tyler's help with Lily. I have meetings from 10 until 4 today, Robert explained over breakfast. Lily usually naps from 1 to 3, so you'll have 2 full hours to focus completely on your competition. The opening ceremony for the National Mathematics Championship was held at the San Francisco Science Center. Tyler walked into the auditorium and felt his heart pounding. Hundreds of teenage math prodigies from across America filled the room. These were the smartest young minds from 50 states, each one representing the pinnacle of mathematical achievement in their region. Welcome to the 52nd Annual National Mathematics Championship, announced Dr. Patricia Anderson, the competition director. You represent the future of mathematical innovation in America. Over the next 3 days, you'll face challenges designed to test not just your computational skills, but your creativity, logic, and ability to solve problems that have no obvious solutions. Tyler looked around and felt both intimidated and energized. Some competitors wore expensive suits and carried top-of-the-line calculators, clearly from well-funded private schools. Others, like Tyler, wore simple clothes and carried basic supplies, representing communities that had sacrificed to send them. But Tyler had learned something important from his encounter with Robert. Success wasn't determined by background or resources. It was determined by the ability to solve problems that others couldn't solve. The first round consisted of individual problem solving. Tyler opened his test booklet and felt his confidence surge. The first problem involved number theory, one of his strongest areas. He could immediately see patterns suggesting multiple solution approaches. For 4 hours, Tyler lost himself in mathematics. Each question presented a unique challenge, requiring him to combine different mathematical concepts in creative ways. The problems ranged from pure mathematics to practical applications, optimizing delivery routes, calculating probability distributions, solving complex geometric proofs, finding algorithmic solutions for resource allocation. Tyler worked steadily, using techniques his grandmother had taught him about staying calm under pressure, combined with the analytical skills he developed through years of teaching himself. When time was called, Tyler felt cautiously optimistic, but he knew the competition would only get harder. After the first round, Tyler returned to the hotel to find Robert finishing a video conference. How did it go? Robert asked immediately, genuine concern in his voice. I think I did well, Tyler replied, but there are some incredibly talented competitors. The level of sophistication is higher than anything I've encountered. Robert heard the slight uncertainty in Tyler's voice and recognized the self-doubt that affects high achievers when they face new levels of competition. Tyler, can I tell you something I learned during my first major business presentation? Robert asked. Tyler nodded. I was presenting to venture capitalists with decades more experience than me. I started doubting whether I belonged there, but then I realized they invited me to that meeting because I had something valuable to offer, a perspective they couldn't find elsewhere. Robert adjusted Lily in her high chair as she played with blocks. You weren't selected for this competition randomly. You earned your place through exceptional ability. Trust the skills that got you here. Tyler felt his confidence returning. He'd been so focused on his competitors' advantages that he'd forgotten his own unique strengths. For the next few hours, Tyler discovered that caring for Lily was actually relaxing and energizing. Her curiosity reminded him of his own fascination with discovering patterns. He taught her simple concepts using her toys, counting blocks, sorting shapes, creating patterns. "Look, Lily," Tyler said, arranging blocks in sequences. 2 red blocks, then 4 blue blocks, then 6 yellow blocks. "What comes next?" Lily clapped her hands and reached for the green blocks, somehow understanding the pattern even at 6 months old. The second day involved team problem solving. Tyler was assigned to work with competitors from California, Texas, and New York. Initially, he felt nervous working with students who'd clearly received more formal training. But as they tackled their first challenge, designing an algorithm to optimize traffic flow in major cities, Tyler discovered his unique background actually provided advantages. "In Atlanta, I've observed traffic patterns firsthand," Tyler contributed. "The mathematical models need to account for real-world variables like human behavior, weather, emergency situations." Jennifer from California looked at Tyler with new respect. "That's excellent. Our solution needs to be practically applicable, not just theoretically sound." As the day progressed, Tyler found himself naturally leading the team. His ability to bridge theoretical mathematics with practical problem-solving impressed everyone. "Tyler, your approach is brilliant," said David from Texas. "You're seeing connections the rest of us miss." By day's end, Tyler's team had scored in the top 3, and Tyler had earned recognition from judges for innovative thinking. That evening, as Tyler recounted his experiences while helping Lily with dinner, Robert found himself reconsidering his initial assessment of this young man's potential. He'd originally seen Tyler as a mathematically gifted teenager deserving educational support. But watching Tyler's analytical approach to childcare, his leadership capabilities, his ability to bridge different worlds, Robert began seeing something much more significant. "Tyler, I want to discuss something important," Robert said after Lily was in bed. "What's that, Mr. Sullivan?" "Regardless of how you perform tomorrow, I want to offer you a position in my company after you complete your education." Tyler looked shocked. "What kind of position?" "I'm only 16. I'm thinking about creating a new division focused on applying artificial intelligence and mathematical modeling to social problems," Robert explained enthusiastically. "Educational inequality, healthcare accessibility, economic development in underserved communities." Robert leaned forward. "You have something most brilliant mathematicians lack. You understand both theoretical problem solving and the real-world challenges faced by people who need solutions. That combination is incredibly rare and valuable." Tyler felt overwhelmed. "Mr. Sullivan, that sounds amazing, but I have so much to learn before I could contribute to something that important." "Exactly," Robert replied, "which is why I want to support your education over the next several years. The Sullivan Foundation will cover all your educational expenses, undergraduate, graduate, whatever level you want to pursue. In exchange, you commit to eventually applying your skills to benefit communities like the one you came from." Tyler realized Robert was offering something much more than money. He was offering a partnership that could allow Tyler to achieve his dreams while staying connected to his values and community. The third and final day featured individual presentations. Each participant had to solve a complex, open-ended problem and present their solution to judges. Tyler's assigned problem involved developing a mathematical model for predicting and preventing the spread of infectious diseases in densely populated urban areas, a challenge requiring epidemiology, statistics, network theory, and public health policy. As Tyler worked on a solution, he drew upon everything: his crowded Atlanta neighborhood, the healthcare challenges his family faced, the mathematical principles he'd learned through years of self-study. Tyler's 20-minute presentation covered concepts that would challenge graduate students, but he delivered it with confidence and clarity. "Mr. Brooks," said Dr. Rebecca Martinez, one of the judges, "your solution demonstrates not only advanced mathematical thinking, but also sophisticated understanding of real-world applications. How did you develop this approach?" Ma'am, I grew up in a community where healthcare access is limited and population density creates unique challenges, Tyler replied. I approached this problem by thinking about how mathematical models could actually help people in situations like those I've witnessed firsthand. The judges exchanged impressed looks, realizing Tyler's background had provided insights that purely academic training couldn't replicate. That evening at the closing ceremony, Tyler sat with hundreds of competitors as results were announced. In third place, representing Texas, Jennifer Wu. In second place, representing California, David Chun. Tyler's heart pounded. And the winner of this year's National Mathematics Championship, representing Georgia, Tyler Brooks from Atlanta. The auditorium erupted in applause. Tyler walked to the stage in a daze, hardly believing his dream had become reality. Dr. Anderson handed him the championship trophy and a certificate guaranteeing a full scholarship to Stanford, including living expenses and research opportunities. Tyler, your work over these 3 days has been exceptional, Dr. Anderson announced. But what impressed our judges most was your ability to apply advanced mathematical concepts to solve real-world problems affecting people's daily lives. Standing on stage, Tyler looked into the audience and saw Robert applauding enthusiastically while holding Lily, who was clapping her tiny hands. Later that evening in Robert's suite, they celebrated with a quiet dinner while Lily played nearby. Tyler, watching your journey these past few days has been one of the most inspiring experiences of my life, Robert said, raising his glass in a toast. Mr. Sullivan, I can't even begin to thank you for everything, Tyler replied. Robert smiled as Lily reached toward Tyler, clearly attached to the young man who'd brought her comfort. Tyler, I think we both discovered something important. You found out your abilities can take you anywhere in the world. And I learned that mentorship isn't just about providing opportunities. It's about recognizing potential that already exists and helping it flourish. Tyler picked up Lily, who grabbed his finger with her tiny hand. You know what's funny? This all started because I helped calm a crying baby on an airplane. I never could have predicted such a simple act of kindness would lead to all of this. Robert nodded thoughtfully. That's the thing about life. You never know when doing the right thing will open doors you never imagined existed. As they prepared for their flight back home the next day, both knew their lives had been permanently changed by their chance encounter. Tyler had won more than a mathematics competition. He discovered a mentor, a future career path, and proof that his dreams could become reality through hard work and determination. Robert had found more than capable childcare for Lily. He discovered a brilliant young partner who could help him build a legacy of using business success to solve important social problems. But most importantly, both had learned that sometimes the most life-changing opportunities come from the simple decision to help someone in need, even when there's nothing obvious to gain. As their plane lifted off from San Francisco, heading back across the country, Tyler looked out the window at the city that had changed his life and smiled. The boy from South Atlanta who had done the unthinkable by calming a billionaire's crying baby had discovered that the most unthinkable thing of all was how far a single act of compassion could carry him. The crying had stopped. The competition was won. And the future stretched ahead, filled with possibilities Tyler had never dared to imagine. But he would never forget that it all began with a simple decision to help when help was needed most.